You want to build better habits in 28 days? Well, habits are just the small steps that lead you to success. When you brush your teeth at night without thinking, you know you've got a habit that is good for you and you no longer have to think about. Thinking about why or whether you do it or why you do it or whatever. So we want to try and add more of these healthy habits into your life that keep you moving forward towards better health, energy, relationships, whatever, without disrupting your already amazing life. Now, if you want to optimize your life without wasting time, grab my free 28-day program below where your life map will show you how to make things better leading towards your dream life. Now, I decided to train for a half Ironman triathlon. My friends had done a bunch of these half Ironmans and I'm like, yeah, okay, sounds interesting. I've never really done a lot of endurance training before that, and it just sort of something different to do. I've been into fitness for a really long time, so this was something outside my comfort zone. Now, I'd also got injuries that left me unable to do a lot of things, so I wasn't able to lift weights at the time and I wasn't able to run, so I was really only limited to just doing the bike and the swim leg. So new adventure, pushing limits on different things. Now, doing two things that I enjoy and certainly done in the past. So anyway, I went and I researched what I need to do. I found a program that I looked at and I'm like, yeah, okay, this looks good. It looks pretty reliable. It looks like it's coming from a reliable source, a good trainer. And I thought, yep, cool, no problem. I'll have a go with that. So the numbers I was looking for was a 90-kilometer bike ride and a 1.9-kilometer swim. So I started working towards that. Now, I had a background. I did a lot of swimming club when I was younger. Wasn't a good swimmer, but I was an okay swimmer. And I'd got enough reps in there. So I had a lot of confidence with it. The bike, probably never been on a bike for longer than an hour or two, certainly in recent memory. But look, that was tough. That first 1 hour spin bike session where I had to keep my wheels going at a particular RPM. I don't know if you've ever done this, but you're just constantly grinding and grinding and grinding for an hour straight. That was a lot. And that seat, it was not comfortable at all. But I just kept with it. I stuck with it. I didn't overthink the program. Didn't question the program. I didn't make any adjustments to the program. I trusted the program and I trusted the process. And because I did that, I was getting fitter. My endurance, it built itself up. I was in a place where I felt better than I could even imagine. I had no idea that I could push myself to that limit. But I just had to stick to those habits. Turned out I hit my swimming goal in 7 sessions. So I worked up to a 2-kilometer swim in the 7th session, I believe. The bike ride took me a little bit longer. But I capped it off with a 90k bike ride. That was my celebration. That was really all I wanted to get to, is being able to complete a 90-kilometer bike ride. That was a big deal for me. It was cool. I got a photo of me holding the bike up over my head, like in celebration after doing it. 3.5 or 3.75 hours or something. I don't know. It was a big day. And I had to not only do the training as per the program, and it was training pretty much every single day, but I also had to do all the stretching and foam rolling and massage. I had to get my food right. I had to get enough sleep and recovery. Man, it was a lot. But I just did the habits. I did what I was told to do. I followed the plan. I ticked the boxes and I did the habits. Habits make everything work. Habits led me to the goal and the result that I wanted. And they can do the same for you if you do it. So follow these 5 steps. First, break your life down into categories. If you can break your life down into categories, you can figure out what's most important and what needs to be worked on where. It also allows you to break it into smaller chunks so you can see what's really going on. A lot of the time when we're looking to build new habits towards different things, they all kind of get grouped together. But you need to split things up so you can get a little bit more clarity on it. I could say Health involves my fitness and my nutrition and my recovery, but realistically, do I just want to have one health goal? Or if I'm going to train for a triathlon, I need to cover multiple different bases through there. So I better look at the physical side of things first and see what I need from that in order to get to my goal. But I also might need to look at what I need from a mental and emotional point of view. What sort of a mindset do I need to be able to push myself to do this thing, to stick with it? Financially, what's it going to cost me? Do I have to take myself away from work in order to be able to train this much? Do I need specialist equipment? Thankfully, I found this bike on the side of the road, and I'd grown up and been able to fix bikes all my life, so it was just something cool for me to be like, fix that. I did a 90k ride on a bike I found on the side of the road. Just got lucky because I found it in a good area. From financial, it's like, are you missing out on social stuff from there? Are you missing out on spending time with family and friends? Are you not meeting people, or are you meeting new people when you're going and doing these things? So if you want to work on your habits in all of these different areas. Now, in my Life Map program, I count 9 different areas that we work on. If you want to check that out, there's a link below, and you can grab the 28-day plan for free. Next thing we're going to look at is, I want you to focus on just one thing for each category. So if you're going to do something in the physical department, do you want to do a fitness thing, or do you want to do a health thing? Do you want to do some stretching, or do you want to focus on eating only meat, vegetables, fruits, good fats, and not eating junk food for a week or a month or whatever it is? And then you've done one thing there, great. What do you want to do with your mental health? Is there one habit that you want to work on there? Cool, go and look at that. What about, is there a habit you want to work on financially, a habit you want to work on socially within your friendship circle? Is there a skill that you want to build from a communication point of view so you can become a better communicator and have better relationships? Is there something you want to do that's going to improve your job? Or is there something that you want to work on that is going to improve your enjoyment with hobbies and fun? Is there something within your lifestyle or your quality of life that you want to work on that you need to set up a habit for? And that's what you want to look at. But one thing for each of those things at the most. And you may need to add them in gradually, because adding too many habits at once can be far too difficult to stick with them. It can be completely overwhelming. They say it takes 21 days to get a new habit. So does that mean you have to start with one habit and then after 21 days you can start a new one? Yeah, maybe. I think you can actually start with a few different ones, but I would think 2 or 3 at the most. I think that anything more than that is too much. You need to get it so it's an easy part of your day. And the last thing you want to do is have your habits so that they are all thrown in and overwhelming, because this is number 3. If you can add one in and do it gradually and not all at the same time, you're not going to get overwhelmed. You're more likely to stick with it. You might find that something is easy and something else is hard. And that's just the way it goes. Generally, I like to start with whatever the easiest habit is, whatever the easiest thing is. So let's say you're talking about the physical goals that you might have, and you want to build a healthy habit within there. Well, maybe eating chicken and broccoli for every meal is really, really difficult compared to going for a walk for 5 minutes a day. Sounds like it is to me. I know from a mental point of view, that would be way harder for me to do. I know a 5-minute walk would be way easier. So what's the easiest thing that you can do? Add that in gradually. If it's too much, don't do that one yet. Don't add an extra one until you feel like you're confident that you have these other habits going. Let's say you choose 3 habits and you started that way and you've been able to keep up with them pretty well. And look, I don't ever expect you get it at 100%. That just doesn't work. I'm never going to get it 100%. Never. I don't even want to get 100%. In fact, I celebrate the days that I don't do the habit, because sometimes I know that I need to hold back and rest. And that might be more important. Or it was more important for me to go and socialize and go to a family gathering than it was for me to do whatever this other thing was. So remember, add your habits gradually and only add to them when you are ready, when you are confident that you can do these prior ones. Number 4, Practice your habits daily as much as you can. Remember I said, don't worry about 100%. I don't want you to be a perfectionist. I used to be a perfectionist. It was a really difficult life because I was always trying to get everything perfect, which meant I either didn't start something, or when I did start something, I beat myself up for not getting it 100%. Even when I've done online programs or assessments or whatever, if I don't get 100%, generally not happy about it. I like to get that. But these days, I pass it, I know what's going on, I'm good. I did my habit at least 80% of the time, probably closer to 90-95% of the time, and that's generally where I'm sitting. I'm really good with this. But the more you practice these things, the easier it gets, because discipline is a practice. You have to practice discipline, and the more you practice discipline, the discipline gets easier. So keep practicing discipline, and things are going to get easier in being able to stick to those habits. Lastly, you want to stack your wins and reward yourself for doing the work, for actually doing the habits, for getting the thing. Because sometimes we focus only on the end result. Let's say doing the Ironman triathlon. Maybe I am actually going to do the event and that's the end result. But what about the success of actually hitting the mark for the 2K swim? What about success of hitting the mark for that bike ride? For me, I celebrated those things because they were big achievements for me. In fact, that was it. I didn't really need to go any further than that because I'm like, I can do this. I've got the confidence. I've got the reward. There is something there that's just, yeah, okay. I am fulfilled. I know that I can do that. So whatever it is, give yourself some sort of a reward. Whatever it is going to be. You don't have to give yourself food. You are not an animal. You do not deserve a treat. But maybe you want to take yourself out for dinner. It doesn't mean you go and get like a tub of ice cream as your reward, or a chocolate bar or whatever. Again, that's like rewarding an animal. Maybe you go and do something fun. Maybe you go and spend some time with someone that you don't get to see very often. Maybe you've got a holiday that you're really hoping to get to, or maybe there's something you want to buy that's going to help you in the next step of whatever you're working towards, that you kind of use as a reward and motivation for what you're doing. The more that you stack these wins, the easier it gets. So let's say you start with 2 habits and you've got 2 habits down here and they've gone really well. And you've celebrated that and that's great. And you keep on adding more habits and more habits to it. Well, you're stacking your wins. You now know that you can do something hard. You know that you're able to perform at a high level. You know that you're able to do something that is going to make a big difference in the long run. You know that you've got it. You know that you've got the discipline. That's a big reward as well. Because when you know that you have the ability to do a thing, when you are confident with it, man, it becomes easy to tackle the next one. If I want to try and do something hard, I'm ready. I don't even have to think about it. I started this year with 2 big challenges. One, I decided I was going to do 1 YouTube video a day and post them every single day for 100 days from January 1 onwards. I've been able to stick with that. In fact, I'm recording some of these videos for that right now, and I'm doing them in a batch so that I am ahead rather than behind. My second goal was no junk food for 100 days. I've been able to do that, and then only last week I upped the ante and I changed it to even more strict, more disciplined. And I did it. I didn't even think much of it. It's like, yeah, okay, no problem. I just finished off whatever the food was that I had prepared, pushed that aside, straight into the next one. No thought, no hesitation. It's like, no, I'm good. I have the discipline. I know that I can do this. I've stacked so many wins over the years. I've got all the confidence that I'm able to stick with it. And I know that you can get that as well. But you spend 28 days working on your habits and all of a sudden, confidence goes up, discipline goes up. You can do so much more. So if you know what to focus on and where to start, you can fit these new habits into your life without too much disturbance, really. But you got to be ready for things to change, because they're going to change, and sometimes it can be faster than expected. Sometimes it's better than expected, and sometimes it's worse than expected. It doesn't matter. Things are going to change. That's what happens when you start moving your life in a different direction. So the more consistent you are, the easier it's going to be. The better results you're going to get, the more disciplined you're going to get, the easier it is again. You keep stacking the wins, you keep stacking the discipline, the easier it is, the faster you get to where you want to get to. And that's what it's all about. Now, if you want to help building healthy habits in the next 28 days, grab my life map below. Wow, can't even talk anymore. Grab my life map below and I will coach you for 28 days and we will build your habits together. You do that, by the end of 28 days, you're going to feel like a different person, life heading in a different direction, more like what you want, more towards the life and lifestyle that you're looking for. See you on the inside.